What is up, everybody? This is your guy Kalai, and welcome back to Budget Buys. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the E-Yooso Z-11 60% mechanical gaming keyboard. And in my opinion, this is one of the neatest, if not one of the best, 60% mechanical gaming keyboards in the $40 and under range, not including those that are on sale. Inside the box, you receive the keyboard itself, the manual, a USB 2.0 cable with a USB Type-C connector, a keycap puller, as well as an alternate escape key and spacebar. Now, earlier on in the video, I made the claim that I thought that this was one of the best 60% mechanical gaming keyboards in the $40 and under price range. And that is a pretty bold claim. So I guess I have to back it up. And to do that, I need to talk about features, both the ones that it has as well as the ones that it's missing, because being a budget board, it's not going to have everything. And I guess I should start with what it doesn't have, like wireless connectivity. This does not have Bluetooth, and it doesn't have a dedicated 2.4 GHz USB dongle. Instead, it is purely USB. Also, the LEDs are not RGB. Fortunately, E-Yooso decided to go with monochrome LEDs as opposed to the rainbow LEDs with a fixed pattern, usually in the form of a different color per line, and in my opinion, that is the much wiser choice. So let's go ahead and bring in the chainmail USB cable, plug in the keyboard, there we go. And as you can see, we have yellow LEDs, which I absolutely love in combination with the black and gray keycap set. In fact, I love this color combination so much that I bought a dice set with it a few years back. For the curious, that is the Urban Element set from Koplo. Okay, I know the features I just mentioned are probably not selling this as one of the greatest 60% gaming keyboards in the $40 and under price range. I mean, heck, even the Magegi MK Mini I reviewed not too long ago has all of the same features, plus a blue backlight, and is generally a little bit cheaper. But what if I told you this keyboard has more switch options? Now, the model I have here comes with what you'd expect, which is standard blue mechanical switches, in this case from Huano. There's also an alternate color palette of this keyboard where the dominant color of keycap is gray and the secondary color is black, and that version comes with red key switches. Also, there is a white model which comes with a mix of white and gray keys in both blue and red switch variety. But I think the most important factor is the fact that this keyboard is from E-Yooso. And that probably confused all of you that don't spend as much time in the cheap keyboard rabbit hole as I do. The reason why E-Yooso is so important is the fact that pretty much every single one of their keyboards has the same feature in common. Even though I have the blue switch model, if I just bring in a key switch puller, I can go ahead and give it a tug, and now I can put in pretty much any switch I want to. There is one caveat, however, when it comes to the hot swap available on this keyboard. And that is the fact that it uses the sleeve method of hot swap, as you can see here, as opposed to using the socket method, which you can see right there. We've got wider holes for the pins, and we've got a couple of contacts. Now, while that doesn't sound like that big of a deal, the sleeve method does somewhat limit you when it comes to the key switches that you can use, at least without some slight modifications. I've found that Altimu and their compatibles are going to be what you want when it comes to the sleeve style hot swap. If you want to use switches that are more similar to Cherry or a Gatoron, you will need to do a little bit of fine tuning. Here I have an Altimu switch on the right and a Gatoron switch on the left. And the most significant difference between these comes on this pin right here. The one on Gatoron and Cherry switches is ever so slightly thicker, and that's going to make it so that it doesn't fit inside of the sleeve. Now you can just file that down a little bit or trim the sides around the end because it does look like it's flared a little bit, and that will help those switches fit into the sleeve style hot swap. And one more side note, it is totally possible to pick up Altimu switches that ship with these little things that they call pin protectors, which just so happen to be the exact sleeves used in this hot swap method. And by getting those, you can kind of cheat and pretty much make any PCB hot swap compatible. In fact, that's what I did to this Adafruit NeoKey Trinky. I just soldered the switch in place while the pin protectors were on, and now I can pull the switch out and replace it with anything else that'll fit. Now I have a couple more things I want to point out, with the first of those being the fact that this keyboard has adjustable feet. And with that being such an uncommon feature in 60% keyboards, I get a little bit excited every time I see them. The next thing I want to point out is the fact that E-Yooso seems to think this is the early 2000s because they're kind of going through their tribal tattoo phase. That has absolutely nothing to do with the functionality of the keyboard, but I thought it was kind of funny. Now let's talk about the function layer on this keyboard, because the way they went about things is kind of weird. First off, depending on what you're watching this video on, you probably didn't even notice that there are a few keys with alternate functions here, due to the fact that E-Yooso decided to laser engrave the alternate functions as opposed to silkscreen them. You can kind of make out some of the features on the gray keys, like this escape key, but in this lighting, things seem to pop better on the black keys, like where E-Yooso engraved their logo on the spacebar. However, when you're not dealing with the intensity of my recording lights, it's actually easier to read the gray keys. Interestingly, the alternate orange keys are not engraved at all. Personally, I'm on the fence about this approach because while I do like the fact that it doesn't throw off the overall aesthetic on the board, I do appreciate a good silkscreen function layer, since that makes things much easier to recognize at a quick glance. As for the function layer itself, when you hold down the function key, escape becomes grave and tilde, which, for the curious, does function correctly. If you just hold down function and hit escape, you get the grave key, and if you hold down function and shift when hitting escape, you get the tilde. I bring this up because that is a feature that was actually kind of messed up in the Meiji MK Mini. You only ever got the grave. Next up, on the number keys, as well as the hyphen and equals, you have F1 through F12. W, A, S, and D are your arrow keys, and no, holding down function and hitting W does not toggle whether or not you're going to have your arrow keys or your standard W, A, S, and D keys. On P, we have print screen. On left bracket, we have home. On right bracket, we have end. On semicolon, we have page up. On apostrophe, we have page down. On period, we have insert, and on forward slash, we have delete. Also, just like many of the other gaming keyboards I've reviewed thus far, holding down function and hitting the Windows key locks it, keeping you from accidentally bringing up your start menu while gaming. Seriously, I wish this was in every single gaming keyboard on the market. Also, this keyboard has a second function layer. I don't know if you can see it on the engraving, but over here on the menu key, we have FN2. And when you hold down that key, 9 cycles through the LED modes, 0 turns your LEDs on and off, hyphen turns your LED brightness down, equals turns your LED brightness up, and backspace allows you to set a custom lighting pattern, while escape sets everything back to factory default. So if I go ahead and hold down the menu key and then press backspace, here we have the default custom lighting pattern, which is just the W, A, S, and D keys. But if I hold down menu and hit it again, it gives us a nice blank slate so that we can set it to whatever we want. So if I just do CLYFAKER, hit it once, and you want to hit menu at least once before finalizing your setting, otherwise it's going to stay lit up. So now that I've done that, I can hit it again. And now we have our custom layer. So if I just go ahead and cycle back to a standard setting, here we have the breathing, and now we have Clive Faker, and now we're back to default. And there you have the E-Yooso Z-11 60% mechanical gaming keyboard. And like I said at the start of the video, in my personal opinion, it is one of the most interesting, if not the best, keyboard of its type in its price range. And yes, I'm even including the Redragon K630 non-RGB edition because as far as I can tell, this packs in all of the same features, with a much lower price point. Of course, I would not mind trying out a Redragon K630, but I digress. All I really need to say is this is a great grab at the $30 asking price, and as of the recording of this video, there is a 20% off coupon on Amazon for each version of this keyboard. Heck, depending on the model you get, there may be an additional savings on top of that. Because when I originally bought this keyboard, not only did I get the 20% off coupon, but there was an additional $6 off due to the fact that I have Amazon Prime thanks to the sheer volume of stuff I buy from that website for this channel. And as such, I'm going to leave an affiliate link for all 4 versions of this keyboard down in the description below. And with all of that plugging out of the way, I think the time has come for me to get back to the massive pile of keyboards that I have building up that I really need to get around to reviewing. So, until next time, this is your guy, Cly, signing off.